Okay, hello. I hope you can hear me. So I said I was going to go on live, and the reason for that was just literally to say to everybody, look, if you've got any questions on sales, then please ask, and I am more than happy to answer anything that you might have. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'm waiting to hear from you. I'm going to, in the meantime, let me just tell you what happened today. I had a phone call from somebody today, a sales call about utility bills, and they really just wanted me to have a look at reducing my utility bill by going with them. And quite interesting, because what they said then to me was, well, this is what we can do. And it was one of those calls where, like I keep saying, you know, don't go down the road of just tell. Selling is not about telling, or telling is not selling, should I say, in my own words. It's more about being able to just, I guess, really just being able to understand what the customer wants. Now, if you can understand what the customer wants, that's the key. So have a think about that. And we can maybe you can get some value from talking to me. Yeah, let me give you some more on that one, actually, because while I'm waiting for people to join. So the main thing was, if you're going to make a cold call, I did put up a video before where I had a diagram of circles, looked like a little bit like a target. And I said that in the center of one of the most important things for you to know is yourself and what you offer as a service. So that is probably one of the most important things for anybody to understand. What is your service? So understand your service, but more importantly, understand what advantages your service or your product offers. So advantages are different to benefits. Remember, benefits are more about things that connect directly with the customer, so it's more personal. Benefits are personal, advantages are generic. So when you have a brochure, or you have anything that's kind of just listing all the things that your product or service offers to customers in general, then those are advantages. They only really become benefits when you connect them to what the customer is saying. Now, what I did say on that video is it's really important for you to just connect that with the person that you might be speaking to. So in other words, do your research, find out what the other person is interested in, or the company that you're targeting, what are they interested in, and use that. Think about what they may have said. So let me give you an example, or a really easy example. If somebody has said that they are focused currently on the carbon footprint, or on reducing carbon footprint, then it's really important for you to be able to identify which part of your services will help them in that goal that they want. So that gives them a reason to want to speak to you, to want to listen to what you've got to say. Otherwise, why would they want to listen to you, and why would they want to actually, go any further with the conversation with you? So what you say to them has got to be pretty relevant. So what else can I tell you while I'm waiting for any questions? If you've got any questions, as I said, this is a live broadcast just to give you the opportunity to give me any questions that you might possibly have on sales, any challenges that you have at the moment. Time is usually one of the biggest challenges people say. Timekeeping, it's just I've got too much to do in the time that I have. So if you've got any challenges around that, then let me know. It's always quite interesting, actually. I mean, I haven't put a full video out on that, but I will do, because I think time management for salespeople is really, really important. It's usually talked about for leaders and leadership, but I do think that everybody should think very carefully. Salespeople should think very carefully about how wisely they're using their time. If we think, for example, timekeeping in terms of when you go into a call, it's really interesting because so many salespeople will go into a call, not take notes, and then say, well, I'll update them when I come out. How can you do that? How do you have time to do that? I mean, you go in, you make a call, a face-to-face meeting, you come out of that meeting, and then you want to try and download everything that you've heard. Well, first of all, will you remember everything? That's quite interesting. And secondly, when you come out, probably one of the first things you might look at is your phone, because you'll have missed calls on there. You might be expecting a call. So, or your phone might just buzz in your pocket, or might have been buzzing endlessly in your pocket while you were in there. Or you may have left it in your car and you've come back and the first thing you see is your phone lit up with lots of messages on there. Then what happens? So then you start answering those messages or listening to those messages. And then what happens? Other things start to take over and other things start to play on your mind. Now, we're pretty good. The brain's pretty good, but it can't possibly remember all of that. It's going to lose bits of information all the time that you're trying to catch up on the phone with people and trying to catch up on what's going on. You're going to lose people. So it's really, you're going to lose not people, information that people may have given you. So whilst you're trying to chase up with other people, which could be a call from a customer, you listen to the voicemail, you can't understand the voicemail, so you need to call the customer back. Then you have to call the internal sales office just to get their input on it or their help on it. Then maybe you're the go-between and you go back to your customer, which I have a whole another episode I could talk to you about on. And then what you do, by the time you come back to making your notes, you may have already set off driving to the next one, forgotten that you've got to make your notes. So then your notes go. And that's not good, because your notes are extremely important to what you're doing. So where are we? Okay. I'm sitting here, it's 6 minutes past 6 on a Friday night. I'm sure that everybody's got better things to do. And so I'm going to give it another 5 minutes of me talking, waffling away. And if we have no questions, then I'm going to call it a day. The reason for that is because I have to respect the fact that this may not be the best time to do this. You know, it's really interesting that as well, because one of the things, I mean, I know I'm talking here, but I'm filling time trying to make this worth it for whoever is watching. But so I think the main thing here is that, you know, we all make mistakes now. Timing's one that where prospecting is concerned, everybody always says, well, are you calling at the right time? I don't think there is a wrong time to call. I think the right time in my head for you is when you're in the right frame of mind. And that could be any time, because quite frankly, if you're in the right frame of mind, you'll be able to do what you need to do on a cold call. Prospecting on a cold call isn't just about getting a sale there and then. If you're prospecting B2B, then a lot of the time it's about qualifying the opportunity, making sure that there's actually something worth chasing up here. You'll have seen it on the calls that I've made live. Obviously, I can't make calls live right now because people will be heading down to the bars or the pubs or home or to the gym, because it's, as I said, over here it's quite late. I don't know what time. I guess across the country, some of you will be waking up to face the last day of the week. I kind of picked a time where I thought that it might be right in the middle of people's day. I thought maybe we'd be able to catch up with everybody at this sort of time. But hey, if you watch this retrospectively after I've recorded it and put it out, then and you think, oh, well, you know, Friday's not the best day, or that's not the best time, then hey, tell me, you know, sales, what I've done for the last sort of 20 years is about learning and adding, learn, build and build and build. And then you just, you know, start to put things together. And it's amazing. The brain is amazing because as you feed it, it starts to just download in the correct fashion that you want to. I'm going to do an interview with a guy called Larry Levine, who's written a book, Selling from the Heart, which is really, really interesting because it's exactly what, you know, I'm always saying about be honest, be yourself, you know, value yourself, and don't forget about the ethics and the integrity. And the phrase I often use, and I have used time and time again, is would you buy from you, or would you listen to you? If you really wouldn't, then why are you saying what you're saying? So anyway, selling from the heart is very much about being true to yourself, being honest about what you're saying. So coming back to what I said about the brain, you feed the brain information, you educate the brain, and the brain will spit things out in the right way, provided your heart's in the right place as well. So you've got your mind working, your heart working. This is stuff that I'll talk to Larry about and record and put out on a video for everybody to be able to watch. So I am fast thinking that we are probably not going to get any questions just yet. I have I am waiting. I will continue to wait for a little while, but that does mean that this becomes a little bit boring for any viewers that are watching from the outset. If you're watching, send me a question. Send me a question. Challenge me. Challenge me. What do you want me to answer? Have you got an objection that you'd like me to answer? I'm happy to do that. So let's see what we can get from it. If you're there and you have a question, send it, because the only thing I can say to you is that to get value out of these sessions is we've got to have some questions that everybody can benefit from, and they will. Any question is a great question. So yes. It's fast getting to that time where I shall be going myself to enjoy the start of my weekend. Listen, I hope you've had a great week. I don't know how your week's been, but you know, just remember that whatever became a challenge this week will become a success next week if you learn from it. So don't let it get you down. Okay, we're 15 minutes in now, and I haven't as yet had any questions from anybody. Do we have anything? So I'm still waiting. If you have a question that you would like me to answer, anything to do with sales, if you've had a bit of a challenge this week and you want to ask, well, what would I have done? How would you handle it? What would be your tip on this particular subject? You know, I had a difficult customer. How do I deal with them? How do I get around it? Let me know. Ask me a question. I do type loud. I'm so sorry, but I guess I'm just a bit old school. So it's funny, actually, I haven't had very many other cold calls this week. Usually I do come across quite a few cold calls, and it's a shame, because for me, receiving cold calls is a little bit like going shopping. I go shopping, which I absolutely love shopping. So I do it quite a lot. And I do it for my pleasure, but I also do it because I learn so much from it. You learn an awful lot from, you know, just walking shops, seeing how people treat you, understanding how what level of customer service people have, and this is really quite interesting to observe, to watch. And in the same way, I love receiving cold calls, because if I get a cold call, I learn from it. Now, I always say to managers, do you take cold calls? When I ask them, they always, most of them will say, well, no, not really, don't. And my answer to that is, well, why not? If you have salespeople who make cold calls and you don't take cold calls, how do you know what a good and what's out there, what kind of cold calls there are out there? Yeah, by taking cold calls, it's quite interesting, because what will happen is you'll start to learn what sounds atrocious and what doesn't, and it helps you to kind of tell your people. Now, talking about what sounds good and what doesn't, I have written a book called Wise Me Up to Cold Calling. And I wrote the book earlier this year, and to my surprise, I had I had 3 publishing contracts offered to me by established publishers. I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. And it's gone. And that's going to be published and out in November. You can pre-order it via Waterstones. You can pre-order it via Amazon.co.uk. That's the only ones that I'm aware of so far, but it will be available in most independent bookstores. Now, look, what I'm thinking is I'm going to share a little, some information on that book with everybody, because I would, I think I've written it with my YouTube subscribers in mind, and the way I've written it is to help you to see how you can sound if you don't put thought into what you're doing. So there are some real stories in there, real examples in there. There are some tips and advice in there, and a couple of exercises in there that will help you as well. I really think it's important for you to listen to yourself, to think about how you come across. That's the real key to being able to cold call effectively. Well, one of the keys. The other things is you've got to know what you're trying to achieve on the phone. And in the book, what I do is I explain to everybody, look, the reality is, if you want to be casual and you want to have a good time, you want to enjoy cold calling, which most people don't at the moment, then you've got to approach it in a completely different way. And this is about, being more relaxed. So what I'll do is I'll give you tips, I'll give you ideas, I'll give you an insight into how you can be more relaxed on a cold call, how you can get through past the gatekeeper, not just past the gatekeeper's objections, and then into the decision maker, and to open the right doors with the decision maker as well. So it's the whole sort of cold calling journey from beginning to end, and all done to help by helping you to, I guess, look in the mirror and see, is this you? Do you relate to any of these? You will be able to relate to some of the calls if you've received them, but then it helps you to kind of put yourself in the other person's shoes and say to yourself, would I listen to me? So that's really what it's about. But I had I really enjoyed writing it. It is the first in a series. I will continue to write another couple of books beyond that to talk about sales meetings, the negotiations, closing, etc. So all of that will be available in time. Let's get the first one out first. Okay, so still no questions whatsoever. So I am going to now call it a day, but thank you for watching. I hope that my waffling has given you some value anyway, and I will be here again. I will put out another one of these. In the meantime, I will be doing some more recording and the video, and to make sure that hey, listen, tell me what you want in your videos. Tell me what I need to do to to help you more? What kind of content do you want me to put out there? The cold calling I can do, I will continue to do. I have no qualms about that, because you know what? I like to put my money where my mouth is. I like to walk the talk. And you know, anything that helps, I'll do. But tell me what else you want me to talk about, because I have quite a lot of experience in the world of sales and selling. So if you've got anything else that you want me to talk about, and also about just self-discipline and being able to go out there and get, I've achieved quite a lot in my life, I feel, and I do think that sometimes people, you know, are so fixated on the money that they forget about what real success is really about. And quite often, you know, people chasing the big bucks can, you know, pretty much end up not feeling great about themselves, because the big bucks aren't there as quickly as people on other videos might promise them to be there. So, all right. So look, if you've been watching, thank you very much. I'm going to stop this here. This will become a recording available on YouTube, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.